Yo! Dang, it's light. What's good, y'all? It's Bryce, man. And today we are quickly about to talk about quick review of what happened on Crown Jewel 2024 WWE, just the results and what we thought of them. But Jesus. Anyway, about to do the Crown Jewel results and what we thought of them real quick. So here we go. Roman Reigns, and I'm gonna give the match a rating, basically a rating, and that could change, but the rating, what I thought of the match, and what the result was. So here we go. We're gonna start off actually doing it the other way around. Starting off with the results. So Roman Reigns and the Usos versus the new bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga. It resulted in Roman Reigns being the one to get pinned by Solo. So by this point, we were 1-0 in predictions because, like I said, I feel like the babyface bloodline or the OG bloodline, I feel they're going to get their true big win and capitalize on all of that at Survivor Series. So, with that being considered and said, I think I'm going to give this match about maybe a 7 out of 10. I think that's the best rating to give it, right? It was a little bit above decent, so 7 out of 10. And like I said, by this point, we were 1-0 in predictions. And my thoughts on it were, I actually thought they were going to do it backwards. I don't know if I said in a video or off camera, but I said before that I thought at Bad Blood, they were going to do Roman getting pinned by Solo in that tag match with Solo and Jacob, and then Cody and Roman. I thought they were going to have Roman get pinned by Solo, which would lead to a Roman versus Solo Crown Jewel, but they actually had to do it the other way around. Roman pins Solo, and then Crown Jewel led to a 6-man tag instead of a singles match. So they actually did it backwards. They had Solo get pinned first by Roman, and then Solo pins Roman. So obviously this gives Solo some legitimacy, so I'm okay with it. And now that Roman Reigns is not champion anymore, more people can kind of afford to get a pinfall over him. Not to say he should lose often, but I think it is good that since he's not champion, he can afford to put more people over. Not to say he should be doing it back to back to back like how Cena's been doing, but in terms of in this situation, it could forward the story and stuff like that. And then obviously, Sami Zayn, after post match, they were beating, the Bloodline was beating up the OG Bloodline were getting beaten up by the new Bloodline, and Sami comes out, pretends he's gonna give Solo a hug. He hugs him, but the hug was really for him to do that little exploder catcher suplex where you hug the guy from a certain angle and you throw him behind you. That was kind of cool, because it's like he legit hugged him, but the hug was meant to set up a suplex. I just thought that was funny. But that happened, and then Solo's in the middle of the ring. The Usos are in one corner, or the Usos are taking one Uso's taking one corner, the other Uso's taking the other corner. Sami's in another corner, and then Roman's in the other corner. So all 4 corners covered by the Bloodline and Sami Zayn. And as they tried to, I think Roman and Sami both try to go after Solo, and Solo moves out of the way. And so Sami ended up delivering a boot, haluva kick, whatever the move may be, to Roman Reigns. And the Usos are confused and flustered, and they're creating that tension. And as I've been seeing before, and I think this makes sense, I think this is where Paul Heyman comes in to glue everything back together, because they're clearly creating the tension, and they should, right, create this tension of how is the Bloodline going to stay on the same page, because after that just happened, it's like, oh, shoot, like, how do you possibly expect everybody to get along type of thing? So I think that's the story they're going with, and they could, like I said, potentially this is the great time to bring in Heyman. And, it makes sense, obviously, for Sami to be involved in this, since he was a major part of why the Bloodline story was so great, and what kind of bought it a whole nother chapter was Sami Zayn doing so well in that role, in that storyline. But, yep, that's how that ended. Like I said, 7 out of 10 match, and, Roman getting pinned. I didn't expect that in this particular match, but that's what they went with. And like I said, give Solo some legitimacy, because now what people consider like the fake tribal chief, he pinned the real one, so gives him some legitimacy there. So here we go quickly. Next match was Bianca and Jade versus Damage Control versus Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. So this match, it was hard to grade it, because it was like at times I was giving this like a 6, other times you were giving it a 7. So it was weird, because there was just certain botches, like I think EO went for a bridge German suplex, and that didn't kind of go correctly. Then I think there was going to be a spot where she was maybe going to do something off the top rope, like she was going to get pushed up by Kyrie to do something off the top rope, but they didn't get quite the height they wanted to get. So a few botches in this match, some falls on the certain falls, like when it's funny how it's almost all the botches involve damage control, even if they weren't the one doing the botches, because Lash Legend threw, I think, Kyrie, and Jakara Jackson didn't really catch her into the power bomb, so it was just literally Kyrie just getting launched in the air and just taking a flat bump. So it was a few botches in this match, but then there was some really good stuff. The dives onto the outside, Jade and Lash really laying in their shots with each other. So there were good things about this match, and I feel like, all that being considered and said, this would also have to either get a 6.5 or a 7. The only thing that would take it down is the botches. So I might give this 7 in a sense that, if at the end the crowd was getting into it, so that might have boosted this from a 6 or 6.5 to maybe a 7. So I can say 6.5, 7 is what I give this match right here. But Jade and Bianca retained their titles as we predicted. So we are 2-0 in predictions right here. Next match, as I said, I'm going through this quick. Next match was Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed. And only thing notable that happened in this match, it was a pretty good match. They had a hot start right before the bell rung. They started beating each other up, and then eventually the bell had rung. And then the finish was basically, I think it was a stomp to Bronson on the stairs on the outside, then another stomp when he got back into the ring, and then there was I think it was then a stomp off the top of the rope, and that would put Bronson away. So that was my first loss I took here. So I was 2-1 in predictions by this point. And on one hand, you're thinking, oh man, to really solidify Bronson as a star, this would have obviously been a big win for him to kind of solidify him in the main event scene, or at least as the upper mid-carder. But they went with Seth Rollins. But granted, like I said in my preview, Seth Rollins had been going through a drought of winning pay-per-view / PLE matches. Like I said, I don't think he had won one since Survivor Series of last year. I think that was his last PLE match he won. So at least they still made Bronson look like a monster, because post-match he was bleeding, but he was still standing up like, even though you pinned me at that particular moment in time, I'm still up type of thing. And he did over to Seth Rollins, to like basically saying that he could take more than what Seth ended up giving him. But I felt they kind of protected him well. So even if I thought Bronson probably should have won the match, or thought he was going to win the match, at least they protected him in some way, right? A lot of stomps that he had to do. So at least they tried to protect him. And it does make him look like a monster, not just bleeding from the face and wanting more, but the fact that it took 3 stomps, and one of them was off the steps and one of them was off the top rope. So they really protected him here. But I give this match 7.5 to 8 here. This match will get a 7.5 to 8. Then we get to Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan for the Crown Jewel Championship, the inaugural Crown Jewel Champion. Tiffany comes down, didn't cash in. She kept trying to cash in, but Nia kept recovering in time. And then the finish was, I think there was only one botch in this match. I think they were going to do like a Samoan drop, gets countered into a crucifix, but that didn't happen. She hit the Samoan drop and then just Liv rolled into a crucifix. So I think that was the only botch in this match. But either way, did some fine stuff in the match, but I just don't think Nia Jax is one of those wrestlers who you're thinking is going to deliver a great match. So, but due to her, she's gotten better in the ring, but it's just due to her size, the matches aren't quite as fun to watch, because it's not going to be a really lot of like fast paced stuff, and she's going to like pretty much overly sell for everybody with the tornado DDTs and all this other stuff. So anyway, it was a match. Definitely, I feel it was the lowest rated match here, just especially with it being 2 heels in it. That to me is what really threw it off, because the in-ring match, it wasn't like horrible, but it's just when there's 2 heels in it, it's kind of hard to get invested in anybody in this particular situation. So I give this maybe a 6, 5.5 maybe, because there wasn't anything that really happened past that day. Obviously, Triple H came in there, gave her the title, and the title was about as tall as her whole top half. But anyway, Liv won this thing. This gets like 5.5, 6. If this had been Liv and Tiffany, I think this would have probably got an 8. If this had been them wrestling each other, it would have been smoother, would have been better paced. But 2 heels, like I said, because at least with Tiffany, she would have been the one they cheered, because she's been getting some babyface reactions. But she won here, and by this point, we were 3-1 in predictions right here. Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. Hard to choose who was going to win this match. And good news is there was no match. This was a fun segment. They had Kevin Owens just hit Randy Orton with a steel chair from behind, and they just brawled. Adam Pearce got RKO'd by Randy Orton, and they brawled all the way to the outside to where the fans were, and then an elbow from the top of the little railing was delivered to Randy Orton through, I think, 2 tables. There's a couple tables over there. But that's how he ended it. So they're going to prolong this, and I bet it's going to end up being some type of no-holds-barred match, maybe a Survivor Series. And I will say the good news about this is it gives them time to build this match up. So you can't really give it a grade because the match never happened. So I can't give this a rating. But fun segment. I guess you could say 8 to 9 as far as just a fun segment in the show. Like I said, it adds more heat to the match, builds it up for a future PLE. Last 2 matches here, we get into LA Knight versus Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. To me, other than the main event, this was the best match. But by this point, this was the best / I would say most fun match of the night here. They did a lot of big spots. Andrade flipped onto the outside as it looked like he was about to do something to Melo inside the ring, but then he flipped outside to LA Knight. That was cool. Andrade did his off the top rope moonsault, but lands on his feet, then did another moonsault because his opponent rolled out the way, and he nailed LA Knight hard in the face with the knee. So that was rough. Glad LA Knight was okay because he got that knee caught right to the landed right on his face. But Melo, he did a flip to the outside, did a couple of tag moves as far as like Melo, or not tag moves, but they like where they hit both of the people in the match. Melo did one where he did some type of move that knocked LA Knight down, and then he delivered that little suplex that switches into a cutter where he kind of lifts them up for a suplex and then catches them into a cutter, pinned both of them. They both kicked out. And then I think Andrade or somebody did the same thing. Like it was a move where they pinned both guys and it didn't get the cover. Forgot who did what, but other thing that happened in this match, just trying to think on notable spots. Melo did a flip over the top rope, little senton over the top rope, landed on his feet. That was pretty cool. Him and Melo and Andrade did the reverse Spanish fly off the second rope. That was another thing they did. And then another notable thing that happened in the match here was other than the finish, that was really cool to see. LA Knight, he jumped off the, he's on the second rope, does the LA Knight, jumps from the second rope onto the top rope and delivered a beautiful double elbow. I think that was the other double pin. He delivered a beautiful elbow off the top. That was the other double pin where he pinned both guys and they kicked out. He did a beautiful elbow, like perfect, like got the air, then transitioned into where he's double, look at the biceps, double dropping the elbow on both of his opponents. That was a really cool spot, and both guys kicked out. Then other than the finish, there was a one botch. See, it was like crazy. It was like one botch. Almost every match, there was like one little slight thing that happened. But LA Knight went for a German suplex. It was going to be like that Tower of Doom type of thing. Or maybe it was going to be a superplex from Andrade to Melo. But then it was supposed to be a thing where maybe Knight hits a German suplex and either Melo was supposed to go with him or not. They got it off even though he slipped. So LA went to run to the rope right where he jumps on top of the rope and grabs the guy, but he slipped up a little bit. Still delivered the German. It looked good. Andrade landed face first, and then that set up for Melo's nothing but net. So he got hit with that, and then Melo hit his nothing but net. The leg dropped to the back of the neck off the top rope, and I think Andrade broke up the pin. Something like that. And then the finish was cool. Melo does his tilt-a-whirl face buster where he runs up to, like, how they'll do the thing where they pick the guy up, spin him one time, and it counters into like a DDT. Instead of a DDT, Melo does it where he spins around the guy, and it ends up being a face buster. And instead of that, it was a face buster and LA Knight's finish, a BFT. So that was cool. So it was basically his face buster and LA Knight's BFT. They all were hit. Like Melo hit his move on Andrade at the same time that LA hit his move on Melo. So that was a cool finish, and he pinned Melo for the 1-2-3. So LA Knight retains. By this point, since the other match didn't happen, I was 3-2? I think I was 3-2 on predictions by this point. I think No. I was doing 3-2. It was 4-1. It was 4-1. I was 4-1 here. LA should have retained. This didn't really feel like a title change, like I said, unless Logan Paul would have interfered. That's the only way I could have possibly seen anybody else winning here. But that's what ended up happening in that match. And then so I gave this match, I think I gave it a 8.5 to 9, because the only thing that would have made it better is if I guess you could say a little more story. The story leading into it could have been deeper, and then the match just didn't get that much time. I don't think it even got 10 minutes, even though it was going so well. It didn't even get 10 minutes. So gave this 8.5, 9. You could go either way with that rating. But here we go. Next up, last match: Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. Probably to most people the match of the night. Like last match, I felt was the most fun they had because obviously they did more of the spots and they had a short amount of time to do it. So a lot of people say run that back. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, even though you don't usually see people ask for a triple threat again. But I feel like if they give that more time, bro, that could give that 14 minutes next time, 15, knock it out of the park. But here we go. Main event to crown the men's side of things for the Crown Jewel Championship: Gunther versus Cody Rhodes, both the champions here. WWE Champion Cody and World Champion Gunther. Good match, classic wrestling match here. A lot of chain wrestling was involved there. Trying to think anything else that happened. So a lot of like old school match, like right, nice build up to certain things. Did actual wrestling moves, leading up. So I like that they started the match like that. And I'm trying to think of anything that happened. There was a Cody cutter in the match. There was the Dusty jabs and the bionic elbow and everything. And the crowd, it was either they just made a lot of noise for this match or they were just really into the match. But either way, crowd was making a lot of noise. They were doing the football soccer chant with the Olays and all that. They were doing that, but a lot of noise was made. But Cody Cutter was hit in this match. A Crossroads was hit and Gunther rolled out of the ring. Obviously, there was one nasty chop on the outside where Cody was like, basically Cody was standing up with his back leaned against the apron. I think like Gunther may have shoved him into the back of shoved him onto the canvas on the outside and then delivered just a nasty chop across the chest. I do remember that. And that was just crazy. But Rhodes eventually hit a body slam on him. I think they were building that up where he was like, it was either the back or the chest or something he had heard of Cody, and that's what stopped him from delivering the slam initially. And then they built up him hitting that body slam, and then he finally hit it on the Gunther. Trying to think of anything else. Then there was I think this was the finish. Cody was going for a Cody cutter again off the very top rope, and he got caught into a sleeper. And he was caught into a sleeper. Cody tries to escape, and he doesn't. And then as he had him in the choke, Cody rolled backwards. So basically, think of it, you're on your back, and then you roll to where your feet go over where your head is, and that's how he pinned him. So he has him pinned in the while he's got him in the chokehold, he rolled backwards and basically held Gunther down for, I guess you could say, a form of a roll up, maybe 1, 2, 3, and that was it. Cody beat Gunther and became the Crown Jewel champion. I give this match a 9 out of 10 because it was a good wrestling match. I don't know about the handshake afterwards, but even I don't know. It's like something about, since Gunther, what I guess you could say be considered a general, and he's all based off like the I guess you could say, when he can, I guess you could say, depending on the situation, he can respect when an opponent beats him in the middle of the ring. Cause right, he's not known for cheating. So I guess it's a weird dynamic there. But either way, Triple H went back in there, crowned Cody as the Crown Jewel champion, and yeah. But I didn't expect that. Like I said, gave it a 9 out of 10 because the story leading into it could have had more depth. That could have made it a 10. And yeah, that was pretty much Crown Jewel as far as just a quick little thought recap on that whole thing. And yeah, they had Cody get the win, which I don't mind in a sense that I could see the situation being that they wanted to, because it's like, when the guy, or in this situation, when Cody takes this many, because he took the loss, if y'all remember, at Money in the Bank in the 6-man tag match. So I could see a situation of them going, well, we don't want to make Cody seem like a weak champion. So you have him pin the one guy that rarely, if ever, gets pinned. I mean, he's only gotten pinned now by Cody and Sammy. So when that's the only people you've gotten pinned by, that's not too bad. That's not too shabby. So overall, I think I'm going to give this PLE, because I feel like the matches I would watch back is probably Seth and Bronson, the U.S. title match, the main event. And then you may watch some moments back, but as far as like the full match from bell to bell, I probably would only watch half the matches that we saw because the Bloodline match wasn't really nothing you needed to see back. Other than I forgot to mention, yeah, Tama Tonga got thrown over the top rope and landed on the referee, or somebody got thrown over the top and landed on the referee inside the ring. And then Jacob, I think, delivered a moonsault on the Roman, and then like 3 or 4 spikes solo delivered on Roman, and then he pinned him. So I forgot to mention how that. I don't think I mentioned how the match ended. I just said solo pin Roman. I don't think I said how. But anyway, but I would only, because Kevin and Owens and Randy, they didn't have a match, so half of this I would watch back. The women's tag match was, again, it was like up and down and up and down, so I don't know if I'd watch that back. Liv and Nia, I wouldn't watch back because it's just, again, with those being 2 heels, it just was not gonna work. As far as like how to get people invested, Bloodline match was fine, but I don't know if it gave vibes. So I would want to watch all that back again. Right, you would watch the post match, but like Kevin Owens or Randy Orton, you would see that brawl again. The post match between the Bloodline, you would see that. So overall, like I said, half this card I would watch back. So that being said, I think that would give this maybe a 8 out of 10. I think that would be fair. 7.5 to 8 out of 10 show overall. Progressed some stories, made some people look strong, good in-ring action and matches. But y'all let me know in the comments how y'all felt about this Crown Jewel PLE as a whole, and we could have a deep dive conversation, man. But and then we're gonna say this and what it's gonna be is the project coming out with the videos, coming out with the vidges, coming out with the content, coming out with the bangers over and over again. Keep y'all entertained for the time that you are watching this, whether it be day or night. And we're gonna keep going, keep running it up. We had 1,045 or 47 or something like that sub. So on the road to 1,100, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep grinding. We ain't gonna stop for nothing. But anyway, till I see you guys again, this is DJ White. So without further ado, let's get it. Like, comment, subscribe before you leave, and I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know what else you want me to react to and what you thought of this overall. See you guys in the next one. Peace.